Week 16 of the fantasy baseball season. Here's a few hitters I look to drop this week. The first guy, Andrew Vaughn of the Chicago White Sox. Vaughn, he's been banged up now with the foot injury over the last week here. And on the season, the numbers aren't that great. 12 home runs. RBIs are good, though. 54 RBIs, 43 runs scored, a 244 average, and a 316 on base. But over the last month before he went down with injury for the last week here, 1 home run, 10 RBIs, 8 runs scored, a 250 average, and a 278 on base. So right now the batting average is down almost 30 points from last season. The RBI is pretty solid on the year, 54. But besides that, he's not really doing much for fantasy teams. And if this foot injury lingers even more, even though he might be coming back tonight here as Andrew Vaughn, he's still not a player that's doing a lot, I believe, for fantasy owners. And just a guy who'll have some good weeks and some bad weeks, team leagues or less. He's definitely droppable, I believe. So the last 2 games before he went down, July 9th versus the Cardinals, 0 for 4. July 14th at the Braves, 2 for 3. July 15th at the Braves, 0 for 4. July 16th at the Braves, 1 for 5 with a run. And July 18th at the Mets, 1 for 5 with a run and an RBI. So right now with the foot injury and the numbers not that great this season here, I would drop Andrew Vaughn. And even last season, it was a mediocre year. 17 homers, 76 RBIs, and a 271 average. So like I said, he's going to be a streaky player. But with this injury and the White Sox out of it, you never know where they could just sit him out towards the end of the season. So right now, he's a hitter I would drop this week. The next hitter, Eddie Rosario of the Atlanta Braves. Eddie Rosario had a little surge for a little bit in June, but he's really fizzled out now. Is Rosario over the last month and change on the season? 15 home runs, 44 RBIs, 39 runs scored, a stolen base, a 249 average, and a 298 on base. But the last month for him, he's been way below the Mendoza line. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 4 runs scored, a 164 average, and a 233 on base. Obviously, that's not going to get the job done for the Atlanta Braves and fantasy owners. And right now, over the last few weeks, he's been dropped in tons of fantasy leagues here. Is Eddie Rosario. He's not hitting the ball well. He's not seeing the ball well. His strikeout rate has gone up a lot over the last few weeks as well. 21 strikeouts in his last 67 at-bats. And the results just haven't been there. July 19th versus the Diamondbacks, 0 for 2. July 20th versus the D-backs, 0 for 3. July 21st at the Brewers, 0 for 4. July 22nd at the Brewers, 2 for 4. And July 23rd at the Brewers, and that one 0 for 2. Right? So right now, he's not hitting the baseball. He's not getting on base at all. And he's an easy drop this week. I know he bats in a great Atlanta Brave lineup, 7th, where there's no pressure on him and a lot of hittable pitches. But right now, he's not connecting. He's not hitting. And it's the latter part of the season here where the next few weeks are huge for fantasy owners to see if they can make the playoffs or not. So right now, while Rosario's not doing much, he's an easy drop this week. The next hit is Jarred Kelenic of the Seattle Mariners. Kelenic, he's been on and off this list this season, and now he's on the injured list with a fractured foot after kicking a water cooler. And it's really frustrating for him, obviously, he said, letting his teammates down and the fans and ownership. But anyway, the numbers have been going down over the last couple weeks here on the season. 11 home runs, 45 RBIs, 43 runs scored, 12 stolen bases, a 252 average, and a 320 on base. But the last month, he really didn't do much anyway. No home runs, 10 RBIs, 12 runs scored, 4 stolen bases, a 243 average, and a 312 on base. So coming out of the gate early in the season, Kelenic was playing great baseball, no doubt about it. But like I said, the last few months here, he really hasn't done much. And now with the fractured foot, it's very surprising to me he's still on the 46% of fantasy leagues, where I think owners easily should drop Kelenic this week with the injury and just the poor play. And now maybe ownership can't rely on him after kicking a water cooler like that and injuring himself and possibly costing his team. Because he was still a pretty decent bat in the lineup, but like I said, he hasn't done much. And with all these factors now, it's a no-brainer drop even in keeper leagues. I don't think he's that great of a talent like he was a few years ago coming up through the Mets system and then getting traded to the Mariners, where he's a must-keep player. July 14th versus the Tigers, 1 for 4 on the rib. July 15th versus the Tigers, 1 for 3. July 16th versus the Tigers, 1 for 4 with a rib. July 17th versus the Twins, 2 for 4, run, 2 RBIs, a stolen base. July 18th versus the Twins, 1 for 4, run. And July 19th versus the Twins, 1 for 4 with a run. So now he's been out since July 20th with the fractured foot. And hopefully he heals. Hopefully gets back on the field sooner than later. But he just wasn't doing much as it was before the injury. So right now, he's a hitter I would drop this week. The next hitter, Joey Votto of the Cincinnati Reds, Joey Votto. He's pretty much been a home run or an out this season here. We know he missed the first 3 months of the season, and on the year, 8 home runs, 21 RBIs, 11 runs scored in 90 at-bats, a 186 average, and a 314 on base. And over the last 2 weeks here, he's been not showing up at all as Votto. 1 home run, 3 RBIs, a run scored, an 069 average, and a 229 on base. So right now, he's still playing pretty much every day for this Red team. But now with a Carcion Strand up in the major leagues as well, playing time definitely could go down for Joey Votto if he continues not to do anything at the plate for the Cincinnati Red team. I know they're paying him big money, but he's past his prime of his career, obviously, and towards the end of his career is Votto. July 18th versus the Giants, 1 for 3, a homer, 2 RBIs. July 19th versus the Giants, 0 for 3. July 20th versus the Giants, 0 for 3. July 21st versus the D-backs, 0 for 4. July 22nd versus the D-backs, 0 for 4. July 24th at the Brewers in that one, 1 for 3. So right now, Votto, he's not doing much for fantasy owners. Yes, the home runs, it's good power, no doubt about it. 8 home runs, 90 at-bats on the season. But besides that, he hasn't done anything. And he's not getting on base, and he's not hitting the baseball. And his strikeout rate is alarming as well for Votto on the season, where he already has 30 strikeouts in 90 at-bats. So right now, well, he's not doing much, and he's pretty much a home run or an out. He's a hitter I would drop this week, in the 5th and final hitter I look to drop. He is Jordan Westberg of the Baltimore Orioles. So Jordan Westberg, he's a player that I had high hopes for coming up through the minor leagues this season. We tore it up in AAA, and he's come up, obviously, to the major leagues for this Oriole team. But on the season so far, I know it's still a small sample size, and he's coming off a home run in yesterday's game, but still 1 home run, 8 RBIs, 10 runs scored, a stolen base, a 262 average, and a 318 on base. But right now, he's been losing some playing time, is Jordan Westberg. He definitely has good versatility, second, third, and shortstop. But like I said, the playing time hasn't been there the last few games, and he just did hit his first home run. But besides that, not much to note of Westberg. July 19th versus the Dodgers, 2 for 4, run and a rib. July 20th at the Rays sat out. July 21st at the Rays, 0 for 3. July 22nd at the Rays in that one, pinched hit, got a walk, stole a base. And then July 24th at Philly, like I said, his first major league home run, 1 for 3 with a homer. So right now, not much going on for Westberg. It was good to see him hit a home run in yesterday's game, no doubt about it. But we got to see a little bit more out of him before I trust him to have on my fantasy roster, especially in a crucial part of the season here with only a few weeks left before the playoffs. So if you're trying to make a playoff push, I know these prospects, they could get hot at any time. But a guy like Westberg, who's not playing every day, and the O's might even send them down sooner than later once a couple guys come off the injured list. He's not really a player I would hold on to right now unless you're in the deepest of leagues. So that's a few hitters I look to drop here in Week 16 of the fantasy baseball season.